Hi friends, it's Cassie and welcome back to my YouTube channel for another Fun Fold Friday. We are on week 6. I do these every other week so that I don't overwhelm myself. But today this is the kind of card we're going to make. It ends up being a 4x4, so it will fit in an A2 envelope. And then when you open it up, it's like this blast of fun stuff. So let's talk about what we're using. We have the Pink and Main Cherry Blossoms stamp and dies. Now this one is great. It has a big one that would work really well on a slim line. It also has those smaller blossoms and lots of sentiments. And there are a couple of dies for 2 of those sentiments. And then I am going to use some pattern paper that, don't ask me what it is because I've had it for years, but I'm just trying to use up what I have. That makes my heart happy. And so this, after I'm done with this card, I will be done with that paper. All right, so we're going to start off with just a regular piece of cardstock that is good for alcohol marker coloring. And I've brought in a Simon Hurley Create ink that is called Breakup Blue. Now, the Simon Hurley Create inks are wonderful for alcohol marker coloring. They're also great for watercoloring and everything else. As far as watercolor, you can use them as watercolors, but they are really good for Copic markers or Olo markers or any alcohol markers that you might have because they don't bleed when you go over the top of them with your alcohol markers. So I thought I would try something fun. I've done this before, but use those colored inks and then have fun coloring those up with your alcohol markers. So as you can see, it's a blue. I brought in some yellow. I tried to pick some colors that would match the pattern paper because that can be very inspiring when you're looking at your pattern papers. So I picked that blue ink and I decided to color my cherry, even though those are cherry blossoms, I decided I was going to color them with some yellow because, you know, creative license here, right? We can color our stuff however we want to. And so I've brought in some yellow. You can see those colors up on the screen. And then for the leaves, we're going to bring in that YG. And I think that this color combination of that light yellow, that light blue, and this really pretty green just go really well together. I will, once these are die cut out and I've put them on my piece, I will use some embellishments, some little red embellishments because that'll tie everything together. But I'm really happy with this. I really do. I don't do it very often, but I really enjoy using those colored inks and then coloring over the top of them with your alcohol markers. Check with your inks. You can always try them out, but the Simon Hurley Create inks are great for this. All right, so now that that's done, we're going to bring in the matching dies that go along with this, and we will tack that down with a little bit of mint tape and run that through our die cutting machine. Later on, I will stamp out the sentiment, and we will do the same thing because, like I said, there are 2 dies in there that will work with the sentiments. I think it's hello and thanks. Now we're going to start with our folds. So I've brought this down to regular time. You're going to need a piece of cardstock that measures 8 inches by 8 inches. Now you can make a smaller one. You could do a 6x6. And we're going to score from just one corner. And I couldn't find my favorite score tool, so I'm bringing in a stylus, which doesn't work as well, but this is what I have, so you use what you have, right? So we're just going to score from one corner to the next, and then we're going to reinforce that fold. Now, like I was saying, this is the type of card that you could vary the size. It's just going to be really, it might be smaller or it might be a little bit bigger. And then, you know, the type of paper that you use for that that's going to make the difference. So because I used a regular piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, I cut this one down to 8 by 8. You could do a 6 by 6. You could probably do a 10 by 10, but I recommend using even numbers when you're doing these. All right, so the next step, now that I've reinforced that fold, is we're going to score this right in the middle at 4 inches. All right, so that's going to leave the 4 inches, and then we're going to turn this, and we're going to score it again. I thought about reinforcing, but we'll do that after we're done. So just turn it once, and then score it again at 4 inches. All right, so now you've got these 3 score lines that you've done, and you're just going to go ahead and reinforce all of those score lines. You can go back and forth if you want, just to make sure that it moves both ways. And I will tell you, I don't do the best job of showing you the fold when I do it, but you will get the gist once you see how it opens up, because you're going to fold those triangles in on each other. Not that that makes any sense, I suppose. So now that those are reinforced, I'm looking at this, and where those triangles are, you're going to want to fold those in towards the middle so that they meet in the middle. And I'm trying to get used to where my camera is right now. It's moved a little bit. So yeah, that's why it wasn't up on the screen. But once I open this up, you're going to get a better idea of how that fold works. So check that out. Isn't that fun? So like I said, you could do this with a 6x6. You could do it with 10x10. You could probably do it, yeah, obviously with a 12x12, and then you'd end up with a 6x6 card all closed up. I'm using 2 pieces of white cardstock. Those measure 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. And then I also have 2 pieces of patterned paper. Now these are different colors of patterned paper. You could do the same if you want, however you want to do it, but I'm just going to cut those into triangles. And now if you do that, it's going to go right up against that score line. I want there to be a border all the way around that triangle, so I'm just going to trim down a tiny bit off that long side on this piece, and then also on the other piece. And then as you can see down in the corner, I have some red triangles that I do the same thing with. So you could skip this step, but like I said, I wanted there to be a border all the way around those triangles. So we're going to speed up again, and I'm going to glue all of my triangles inside, and I'm mix matching there. So we'll put the one on the one side, we'll put the red one down on the other side. I will flip, and then we'll take our last 2 triangles, and we'll do the same thing. Just using liquid glue, adhere those down. Oh, this is so fun. I love how this is coming together. And like I said, you could try different variations. I wanted one that was going to fit inside of just a regular A2 sized envelope, and this one will do that just fine. So we've closed it up, we've played around with it. The next thing I want to do is stamp for the inside pieces. Now, once again, these are those 2 white pieces that measure 3 1/4 by, or 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. I am inking up that longer cherry blossom with that Breakup blue ink from earlier. I'm not going to color these. I just decided I didn't want to take away from the sentiment. Not that it really would, but I just decided to leave those blue. And then I'm going to stamp another sentiment on one of these, because that's the fun part about having these 2 panels in there. You could leave them open to writing on both, or as I did, stamp my sentiment on the one, and I will be able to write to my recipient on the other. I'll stamp out the word thanks, and then this is going to get die cut out. And then we'll be ready to adhere our pieces to the inside. So there's where you have a beautiful soul is going to go, and then I'll glue the other one down below in the other corner. But think of how you could decorate these if you wanted to use little critters or any other sort of thing. Now, I don't love that that doesn't close on its own very well, so we're going to make a belly band. And so I'm just cutting 2 pieces of cardstock that measure 1 inch by 6 inches, and then we're going to score both of those right at 3 inches. And using the patterned paper that I have, they're not going to match up, and that's okay. But I'm just going to put a little bit of glue, sorry you can't see that, a little bit of glue on the one side, and then I stick my 4-inch square on the inside of that so that I can see where that's going to line up so that those score lines are going to meet on both sides. I'll put some pattern paper on the front of my card, and then I am going to wrap this around the front of that 4x4. So again, those score lines are going to want to meet up around where that wraps. When you glue this down, don't make it very tight. You want there to be some give and have it be a little bit loose. The reason for that is if it's too tight, it'll be hard to get on and off. So just make sure that when you glue that down, you're not gluing it super tight. Now I will glue down my sentiment to the front. And then I'm kind of trying to play around with the 2 little flowers and how I want to put those on the belly band. And I've decided I'm going to use some foam tape on there. So I've got this thin foam tape. We're going to use 3 strips of it. 2 probably would have been plenty, but went a little overboard. And then I'm going to stick that over the top. We'll put our belly band back on our card. And then I'll peel off that release paper. And then this will just give me a good idea of how those flowers are going to fit on there. And like I said, I did want to bring some of that red in. So I've brought in, and it's old, may not have it anymore, but Postbox red vintage Nuvo drops. And I'm just going to put those all over the stamen and then the centers of those flowers. That ties in that red, that yellow, that blue, and that green with the pattern paper that I chose. I love how this turned out. This was so much fun to make. And I definitely want to make more of these, probably in different sizes. So we'll open it back up so you can just see how simple and fun this is. And I don't know, is this something that you would try? Have you done this one before? I don't know what it's called, but I do know that I like it a lot. Are you enjoying this series? Because I'm really enjoying this series. Fun folds are just a great way to have something different come through the mail rather than just a regular card. So yeah, as I said, I will do these every other week as time permits, but I'm having a good time. So if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. Definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And as always, I will see you very soon in another video. Bye everybody.